And I would like to remind you to please make sure your cell phones are off, and please do be sure to sign the guest registry. There are 2 of them being passed through the theater. It has been said that ability without dependability has no value. Wes Strickland is one who has proven himself to have both outstanding abilities and the dependability to make these abilities useful, not only to himself, but a blessing to others. I've had the pleasure of knowing Wes since he was a freshman in my geometry class, up through senior year in my small AP stats class, where we got to know each other even better. In math class, he was always willing and able to help explain concepts to other students. And I've also experienced his dependability as he shared his marvelous musical talents in 2 of the NHS banquets over the past couple years. And I'm sure many of you have heard him playing in other venues. Whenever someone needs a musician, the first suggestion is, ask Wes, he'll do it. So Wes, we do really appreciate your talent and your willingness to share that. May I now present to you Wes Strickland. Wes, may God bless you today as you share your story and as you take the next step in your adventure.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson, for that introduction. I still don't feel like a senior, but I guess considering the fact that I'm up here talking in front of all of you, it doesn't really matter. In fact, I can still remember vividly the first day that I walked on a Doc's campus 4 years ago for a prospective student open house. I remember getting a tour from Brittany Moyer amidst comments like, "This is L123, the health room where we learn about health things." And my mom continuing to expand upon the fact that she felt old because she was preparing to send her son to her former high school. I remember how big the campus seemed and how small I felt in it. Although at times I still feel small on this campus, I am no longer the 5'0", 100-pound freshman that almost peed his pants the first time Dr. Bishop pulled his note card out of the class stack and asked him to read something. I have found Doc to be a place where I was free to express myself and pursue my passions in both music and academics. Somewhere that I could get involved in student leadership groups like the Senate, the School Service Committee, and Chapel Committee, and a school with a competitive athletic program that offered me many opportunities to get involved. Freshman year was a blur for me, but I do remember that my favorite classes were English with Dr. Bishop and, of course, gym class. I remember being afraid of block scheduling because 45 minutes already seemed like forever, and I had no idea how I was going to be able to make it through an hour and a half of class. But with Dr. Bishop, that wasn't a problem. I would walk into that first period class almost every day with incredible amounts of excitement, unsure of what we would talk about and what I would learn. English quickly became one of my favorite subjects and has remained a favorite throughout my entire high school experience. I would like to express my utmost appreciation to the English department and how they have helped me develop as both a writer and as a person. During my freshman year, I also began playing volleyball, a sport that has definitely helped to shape my high school experience. Troy Holtzman, Tyler Hoover, and I went to all of the open gyms in the off-season and had a great time working out and playing with some of the older players, even though we ourselves were pretty terrible at first. Through volleyball, I was able to connect with Ben Richter, who became someone that I looked up to and greatly admired throughout my first years at Doc because of his success on the volleyball court, hard work in the classroom, and participation in touring choir. As the school year came to a close, I applied for my first real job and was eventually given a position in the dietary department at Doc Wood's retirement community as a server. While this experience started as something that I did, solely because my mom demanded that I get some sort of job during high school, it quickly became something that I wanted to do. Despite being told numerous times by the old ladies at Doc Woods that they had to buy lots of makeup to make their cheeks look like mine, and that furthermore, my cheeks were wasted on a boy. I was able to quickly develop relationships with several of the residents that have continued to this day. Their wisdom and advice have been invaluable in my development as a person, and I am exceedingly thankful that I was given the opportunity to not only have a steady job throughout high school, but to also have a job where I could work with people that I genuinely appreciated and enjoyed. Another high point of my first year at Doc came in the summer, when some of my friends decided to do a Walmart scavenger hunt. After listening to Tanya Nieto's senior speech and hearing about their version of a scavenger hunt that they had done during their high school experience, we decided that it would be a good idea, a good bonding experience for all of us to go to Walmart and essentially act like idiots. Items on the scavenger hunt list included playing Marco Polo in the aisles, having a sword fight in full costume, and walking around the store with a plunger on someone's head. Using photo documentation, my team, including Caitlin Kratz, Michaela Gaiman, Ryan Swarzentrooper, and myself, successfully completed a majority of the items on the list, including discreetly placing a package of old people diapers in an unsuspecting shopper's cart. While this last item seems like a great thing to do in the scavenger hunt, as an increasing number of Walmart shoppers rolled up to the checkout with the incriminating diapers, the manager of the store decided that we had to go. This experience greatly helped me in my search to discover who I was as a person and cemented myself in a great group of friends that I have been privileged to complete high school with. Sophomore year was the year when I began to find my niche at Doc. I was no longer the shy, scared freshman, and I began to really start participating in things at Doc. I started actually talking during the school Senate meetings. I even helped to organize a parent-teacher fellowship night that served as a fundraiser for Nations Worship Center, a church in Philadelphia that Doc is closely tied to through Mr. King's Rice and Noodles fundraiser. I also took charge of several Arts Day events, including writing out the vocal harmonies for Lion King's Circle of Life, an event that cemented itself in Doc's Arts Day history when Seth Reynolds, wearing a monkey suit, proudly imitated Mufasa by holding up his cat in front of the entire school. Although I would still consider myself to be a cautious person and someone who does not like to put myself out in front of people very much, sophomore year was a year when I began to stretch myself and truly take advantage of the many opportunities that Doc offered me. While my grades dipped a little because of a difficult Spanish 3 class, I continued to work hard in the classroom and strove to achieve an elusive 4.0 GPA. My workload became much more challenging during this year, but despite the busier schedule, I was also able to take advantage of several service opportunities, including spending 10 hours volunteering for Operation Christmas Child's project, which is run by Samaritan's Purse. It was during this year that I began enjoying doing service and making a difference in other people's lives, a passion that I hope to be able to continue as I enter college. A low point of sophomore year was the volleyball season, when much to my dismay, Troy and Tyler were both pulled up to the varsity volleyball team, and I was left on JV, despite being named the captain. This followed an equally disappointing soccer season in which I was named the JV captain, and then sat the bench for the majority of the season. Although both of these experiences were disappointing, I was again given the opportunity to become a better leader, and these experiences of being captain helped me to develop my leadership and communication skills. It was also during my sophomore year that I began to realize how blessed I was, especially with regards to the family trips I was able to take over the summer. Every year for the last few decades, my mom's side of the family has rented an oceanfront house in Maine. Until this last summer, I had gone there every year since I was born without fail, and over time it had become a place that was extremely important to me. In an English paper entitled Monasco, I wrote about the vacation house, its paint-peeling walls, worn carpet, and ceaseless ruckus when the whole family arrived. In a concluding paragraph, I wrote, "I can now look back on these days and realize that they and the present are some of the best of my life. All children grow up, and everything eventually ceases to exist. But no matter what happens to this wonderful old mansion and its gray walls, I know that its memories will never die, and its impact on my life will remain forever." This sense of community and support that I have felt from everyone in my family, especially my parents, is a primary reason why my life experience and my time in high school have been so great. Thank you for the time, effort, and love that you've invested in me. They have truly molded me into the person that I am today. Before I knew it, sophomore year had come and gone, and I was an upperclassman. I looked forward to being a junior, despite being scared of the responsibilities of being an older member of campus. With more freedom in what classes I wanted to take, junior year was one of the more memorable years of my high school experience. I made the school's touring choir and also signed up for the flag football gym collective, both of which proved to be some of my favorite classes in the 4 years I had at Doc. Junior year was also the first year that I traveled outside the U.S., an experience that I will never forget. Another significant class that had an impact on me during this year was social issues, specifically the trip to Washington, D.C. that we took towards the end of second quarter. In the area of Montgomery County in which I live, poverty isn't something that I'm exposed to. Unlike more populated places in our area, such as Norristown or Philadelphia, you don't see people on street corners asking for money or food where I live. When our class made the trip down to D.C., I experienced real poverty for the first time. When our class, with the service experience during my sophomore year, I really enjoyed the time that I spent in the food distribution site where we volunteered, and not just because Tyler Huber and I flicked rubber bands at Jacqueline Kratz for the duration of our volunteer time. The task that we were given was to pack meals for delivery to people who were disabled and unable to afford food. The people at that center clearly loved what they were doing, and it was incredible to hear about the various lives that they were touching through our work at the center. My time on social issues was also significant because during one of the nights that we were in DC, the trip chaperones bought Chinese food for our class and invited a few homeless people into the church where we were staying to share the meal and their stories with us. Being able to listen and talk to these people gave me a whole new perspective on being homeless and some of the reasons that people are put in these unfortunate situations. Through this trip, I was able to see a side of life that I had never really experienced before. As second semester started, touring choir quickly became a class that I look forward to every day. I love the songs that Mr. Durstein had chosen, as well as being able to sing with the seniors in the class above me, not to mention that we didn't get homework. Through touring choir, I was able to meet a lot of people in the class above me that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten a chance to talk to. Getting to know them better and hearing about their life experiences with choosing colleges definitely helped me to feel better about making my college decision this year. Another benefit of being in touring choir was being able to go on the trip to the Mennonite School Association's Choir Festival in San Juan, Puerto Rico. That trip was the first time I'd ever left the U.S., and I can't think of a better way to be broken in. When we weren't in the gym where we were singing, we were on the beach playing football and swimming. Sam Wilkins and I also had the privilege of staying with a Puerto Rican host family who gave us a tour of the city and helped give us the true San Juan experience. I had an incredible time on this trip, and I can't wait for the trip that the choir is taking to Europe in just a few days. As the school year ended, I said goodbye to my friends and headed off for a summer of training to become a counselor, otherwise known as the guide program, at, you guessed it, Deerfoot Lodge Boys Buildings in New York's Adirondack Mountains. While this summer proved to be one of the most intense experiences I've ever had, it has also profoundly impacted my life and has changed the way that I will see things forever. Right from the